What is that? I see you have met the Grass Thrasher 2000. Ain't she a beaut? It looks like a Roomba with knives taped to it. Well, you know what old Pappy used to say about first impressions? Show them your knives first. That way they know you're a good, law-abiding citizen. I don't think it works that way. Well, what does work is this here Grass Thrasher 2000. I know, because I used to have 10 fingers. I think I'm gonna pass, but thanks for the demonstration. But you haven't even seen turbo mode yet, where it spins and it shoots knives. What an idiot. Wait, where's my Roomba? So here is what happened. I started to record a robot lawnmower video, and it was so good that the memory card it was on decided it was too good for the world. The world wasn't ready for it yet, and it deleted it. So you're gonna get a little bit of me from the future, which is now, and then you're gonna get a little bit of me from the past, which is in your future in a second. So this is the mower I bought over here, and let's talk about why for a second. So we somewhat recently, not really that recently, bought this house. It sits on 0.85 acres, and all I have right now, or had, is a push mower. It's a little bit much to do with the push mower, so I was like, I'm gonna get a riding lawnmower or a zero turn or something like that. And then my brother said, hey, don't you have a really flat yard that's all fenced in, and isn't that the perfect environment for a robot lawnmower? And I thought to myself, this is why he's a genius and I'm the dumb one. So I started looking for robot lawnmowers like you see right here. There's a few different ones out there. I mainly looked at the Husqvarna that we have here and the Works one. Problem was with the Works, it didn't do as much land or cover as much grass as I needed it to. So Husqvarna has a few models. This one is the 430XH. They start down at like 115 and then they do like a 2 something and a 3 something. And basically from what I can figure out, it's some of them have different features, some of them have GPS, some of them don't. But the higher the number, the more coverage it gives you. So this model is rated for 0.8 acres and this is 0.85, so you know, close enough. So the H and XH means that this one cuts higher. So they have basically 2 different versions that you can get. There's like a low version and a high version. So here we have St. Augustine grass, cut a little bit higher than other grass. So we got the high version. I think this does anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. And there's also the option of professional install or self-install. And you all know I am a glutton for punishment, so I chose self-install. We'll get into that in a minute because it's been an adventure. And with that, I will hand it over to Steven from the past and or your future to install these things that are now installed. So in the box, we had the mower itself. That is the charging station that it lives on. This is the power supply. You've got wire for the power supply. And then notably, there's no guide wire for the motor. So the way this thing works is you have to lay wire like all around your property. And then the lawnmower knows to stop and not run into your fence and stuff like that whenever it gets to the edge. But they don't give you any in the self-installation kit, which doesn't make any sense. Luckily though, I bought an extra installation kit because I figured I wasn't gonna have enough wire anyways. And so we will get started with that. Actually, as usual, I lied. First, we're gonna go ahead and plug this guy in, get him charging. That way, whenever we get our wire down, we can go ahead and turn it on and let it start mowing. So you're supposed to place the charging station for the mower in like the largest part of your yard, and then you run a guide wire all the way back to it. That way it can find its way home easily. The thing is though, the largest part of my yard is over there. There is power in the garage right here, but that garage is about to get torn down. So we're gonna have to go somewhere over there. So over on this side of the garage, we've got a outdoor power outlet right there. So we're just gonna put the mower over here in the shade of the tree so it can relax, have a good time. So on the back here is where your power plugs in. And then that's the power, and then all the little guide wires and stuff run off these other tabs. So all of our wires are gonna have to run back to this location. So you wanna make sure you put your base somewhere where you get your wires to it. For now, we're just gonna plug this guy in and put the mower on and let it charge. Got your on-off switch on the bottom of the mower here. So just turn that on and it's chirping at me. I think you just kinda, yeah, that means something's happening. Upside down. No, you're not, you're okay. So while that's charging, we'll take a look at the installation kit and start setting things up. So in here, we have got a bunch of wire. So like I mentioned, the robot mower needs wire all along the edge of your yard to know to not go over it. You got stakes for laying that wire down with. And what Husqvarna says is you can use a cable trencher to put this down, like, you know, a few inches underground, or just lay it on top of the grass using the stakes, and in a month or so, this will just disappear and you'll never see it again. that's what we're gonna go with today because I did not rent a cable trencher. Got some connectors for connecting the wires when you cut them. And this is the general gist of things. So you want a wire going all the way along the perimeter of your property, around your house, so it doesn't mow your house. And then you lay a guide wire going like as far as you can towards the middle of your property so it can quickly find its way back to the charging station whenever it needs to charge. So apparently the exterior of the mower is actually a bumper, kind of like a Roomba. So if it bumps something, it will stop and turn around. So we're gonna go for the most minimal cable laying we can. So we have to start over there on the other side of this garage where the mower is. I'll probably run behind the garage, all the way down along the fence line. Over here, planning on cutting across the driveway, going all the way down there. And this probably isn't making any sense. I'll tell you what we're doing as we get to it. But all the trees and stuff, I'm not gonna put what they call islands around those. So like you can go to each tree, put cable around it, and the mower won't go up against the tree. But for now, I'm just gonna let it bounce off of it and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, I'll fix it later. All right, so we're about to start laying our boundary wire right here, and Lawnmower comes with this handy little guide that is actually part of the box. So it has different marks on it depending on how far you want your lawnmower to go over the boundary wire, because the sensors for the boundary wire are actually underneath the lawnmower. So you got your short guy here. If your grass just kind of trails off and what's after it is level and it's okay for the lawnmower to go onto it, you can use that. If it's more of what I think I'm gonna use right here with this rock and stuff is this medium-sized one, the 14-incher here. That way it goes over a little bit, but not all the way, and gets the edge of the grass. And then if you have a hard surface like this wall right here, we're gonna use the full 16 inches. That way it's not bamming into the wall every time it comes up. So just remember that they recommend going and mowing the edge of your yard before you do this. That way your cable's down as low as it can go. And I totally forgot to do that, at least at the beginning. I'm remembering it just now and we're like, I don't know, 10% of the way done, but I'm just gonna keep going because we're already here and yeah, that's the only reason. Let's keep going. So over here, we're coming up to this sidewalk right here. We're gonna go a little bit closer. We're gonna use that 4-inch mark and put it so the robot will go partially onto the sidewalk. That will cut the grass all the way up to the sidewalk. I know I'm still gonna have to edge and get all this stuff that's already growing onto the sidewalk, but that'll help a lot having it trim all the way up to the sidewalk. So I know this seems pretty tedious, like laying out all this cable, putting down all these stakes to keep it down. It's really not that bad though, but as I've been going, I've been asking myself, should I have rented a cable trencher to do this? And I think the answer is no. And the reason for that is I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have some adjusting to do. And if the cable was 2 to 3 inches below ground, it'd be a lot harder to adjust. Plus, once you get into it, it's really not that hard to put this stuff down. The easiest way I found to do it is to lay out a bunch of line, just run it down where you're gonna go. And then these stakes, they're not hard to put in. I don't need a hammer. You can just push them right in. I know I'm probably like really strong and stuff, but maybe y'all can do this too. All right, we've now come to a decision point. So the wire, this part of the yard is all done. The wire's running along here, along the edge of the garden, and we get up to this part right here. So over here, we need to go that way so we can continue our boundary down there. The problem is this garden right here. We don't want it to mow the garden. We don't want it to mow the driveway, but there's nowhere to put our stakes. So I think what I'm gonna do is maybe just like follow over here through the garden a little bit. I'll bump into this dead plant once or twice. Maybe run it down the crack of the driveway. Still can't put stakes in there. I'll probably have to get some glue of some sort, like that driveway crack filler stuff, and maybe put that on top of the wire. Run it down here, run it through that driveway crack, and then we can continue our line all the way down there. So that is what's next. So we just reached the end of our first roll of wire. We've got our second roll here, and the installation kit comes with these little push down connectors. You don't even have to strip your wire, you just kind of put them in there and smash it closed. So that should continue our wire, and we just keep on going. So we did wind up running out of wire right about there. Almost made it all the way back to the garage over there, but not quite. So Husqvarna actually says you don't need Husqvarna brand wire to lay your boundary wire. They say you can use any wire you get from your Husqvarna dealer. And I bought my mower from Amazon. So I went on Amazon and got some, this is factory grade dog fence wire. So this was available overnight. The other stuff was gonna take like, I don't know, 5 days to get here. So we're gonna go ahead and go with this. Hopefully it works. If not, you'll find out real soon. All right, so our boundary wire is all laid now. Let me show you what we got for that. We'll do it real quick style. So we start here at the lawnmower. It comes over here to the wall. You go down the wall. Come over here, around this. I thought this space was like too small for the mower to even get through, so I didn't even bother making this an island, so it just goes around. I'm gonna have to weed eat that myself. Go over here, around the fireplace area, over by the pool, and then here, I think this could be an issue. So we've got the boundary wire going like right here on this side, and then on the way back, it's right here, and that's really close. So I'm not sure there's gonna be enough room for the lawnmower to get through. We also need to put our guide wire through here, which we'll talk about in a minute, and that's supposed to have 2 feet of space from the wire, or the boundary wire, and there's not 2 feet there, so that could be a problem, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Continuing on, we go by the pool, along the sidewalk. Back here, our wires are close again. We may have to change this up. I may have to go like across the sidewalk instead of right here. And that's probably another good reason for doing it just with the stakes and not laying it in the ground, because anything I'm gonna have to adjust, I can just pick it up and move it. But continuing on, we go down this part of the sidewalk, through that little area. Here's our first cut across the driveway. The duct tape is just temporary for now until I get some glue to hold that wire in place. We come across here through the crack to this part of the yard, across the driveway, again, over here. So what that means is this part of the driveway is now excluded, and everything like right in front of the garage right there, this is all in the lawnmower's area. So our boundary wire keeps going here. Get to back here, Husqvarna says it doesn't like gravel, so we've got all this blocked off. It's not gonna go in between the fireplace way back there and the front of the house. This part is just off limits. Take a turn here, go all the way down to the garage down there. So right here, this clay mud pit of despair, this is in the lawnmower's service area, which should be interesting. Good chance it's gonna get stuck in here. Turn here, outside the garage. We go around this plant because why not? And then over here, we cut underneath. So that garage, this little part of the drive underneath the carport is excluded. Come over here, down this way. This should be interesting, all these trailers. I'm hoping it will mow underneath the trailers, although over here we also have a mud pit of despair, so there's not much to mow anyways, but I'm hoping it'll get underneath them, we'll see. Down to the fence over here. And straight shot all the way down to the fence at the front. So things like this stump could be a problem. Haven't roped them off. Those roots on that tree over there, those could be a problem. We'll have to see what it gets stuck on. So we turn here. I kept the boundary around these trees because they're really close to the fence. It's not gonna be able to get up in there. And then we start heading down the driveway back this way. So right here we make a turn, we cut across the driveway again. So that means all of that driveway right there is going to be out of bounds. It will cut the grass and it won't be on the driveway in your way when you're trying to get down here and, you know, accidentally run it over. You can run it over down here though. This is all in bounds, so that'll be interesting. I also probably should have fixed the driveway before running the wire, or maybe I can just put the wire into the driveway when I re-pour all this. I don't know, that should be interesting. But anyways, we come over here and then go right back down the fence line that way. We've got gravel back here behind the garage, so again, this is out of scope. Oh, there's also all these pots and junk back here, so it probably wouldn't like that anyways. We turn and go along this garden. I'm hoping it will also mow underneath the trampoline and underneath the camper. We'll see, that should be interesting. And then we cut back down the driveway right here in front of this garage and straight back over to the charging station. So the next thing to do is to run our guide wires, and this part I don't really get. So what you do is, depending on the model, you have 1 or 2 or none guide wires. This one has 2. And the way you can check is back here, we've got our boundary wire for one side, the connection, boundary wire for the other side, the connection, and then G1 and G2. Those are our 2 guide wires. So you'd either have none of these or one of these, or here we have 2 guide wires we can hook up. So the mower uses the guide wire to quickly find its way back to the charging station. So say it was like way out there in the front yard mowing, its battery gets low, it needs to quickly and efficiently find its way back. It will go find the guide wire and drive itself right back. So what you're supposed to do is run the guide wires to remote areas of your property. So we're gonna start there at the lawnmower. We're gonna go over probably to the far reaches over by that pool box over there for one guide wire. Our other guide wire will start here and go out as far as we can down to the end of the yard that way. The thing is, I've already used both driveway cracks that I have available here to run the wires, and the guide wire needs to be 2 feet away from a boundary wire. So what Husqvarna says is you can use an appropriate blade to cut channels into your driveway, and I think it's kind of what I'm left with. I think I'm gonna cut a line right here and then run our guide wire out that way. So this here looks like an appropriate blade. It's a concrete and masonry and cuts all soft stone blade. Hook this up to the grinder. We will cut a small channel, put our wire in it, and then see if we can get this thing running. And if you're thinking, hey, here's some idiot who's about to cut into his driveway to install a lawnmower, yes, you're right. This is what we do around here. All right, so we got our guide wire run all through the yard, down through here. I'm not sure right here is gonna work, but we're gonna try it out anyways. And over to here, and what you're supposed to do is you take your boundary wire that you ran and you cut it. And you take one of the little 3-way connectors, your boundary wire is gonna go in here, and also the guide wire that we just ran. And then we clip them all together. Done. Now we gotta run our second guide wire from the base station as far into the yard as we can get it before we run out of wire. So if you get one thing from this video and you're doing this yourself, it's buy way more wire than you think you need. I think I'm about to run out again, and we need to make it to a boundary wire so we can connect it all together. See how far we get. All right, so our second guide wire made it most of the way out there. I'm still gonna have to run it farther later, but it's temporarily connected to a boundary wire so we can just fire this thing up. The last thing left to do is to connect our wires up in here. So the installation kit comes with these little purple connectors that I had no idea what they were for when I first saw them. And what happens is you put your wire just in here and you close it up. And whenever you do, the bottom of it turns into a little terminal connector. Then you just push it right on these terminals down in there. So we got boundary wire on each side, 2 guide wires in the middle. Hook those up, should be good to go. So just got our wires hooked up, and I don't know if you can hear that, but whenever I connected the guide wires, we got this electrical buzzing that just started. So I don't know if it's supposed to do that or something's wrong, like maybe we used dog fence wire. If you know, tell me down in the comments. Got a green light down there, that means things are working. Okay, so to access the controls, you press the stop button back here. You got your control screen up here. I already made my secret code. So if you go in here to the menu and you go down to settings, no, accessories, you can set up the Automower Connect there. So there is an app that will control your lawnmower. And I did have a problem with this at first. It turns out it has to generate a PIN code for you to put into the app, and it will only do it for so long after you turn the mower on. So for me, it was just saying, please wait, please wait, please wait. It would never give me a PIN code. I had to go down to the the on-off switch underneath the machine, turn it off, turn it back on, get a new PIN code, and now it's connected to the app. So we should be able to start mowing, I think. Actually, we have no blades. We have no blades. We have to put those on. Oh no, they're in there. You just can't see them. So the way this thing works is these are just little razor blades, and this is what does the cutting. There's 3 of them all along, and you can see they go in and out. And the reason for that is whenever it hits a hard object, it will deflect and go in and not cut it. So like tree stump, something like that. But it's supposed to stay out enough to cut grass. So little guys, gonna have to replace them every so often. But it's kind of crazy that that's what does the cutting. All right, so this is the Automower app right here, and you can see it stopped. It says we have to go press the start button to start it, but so we get your mower information here. It says we're set to max height right now, and that's apparently where you want to start mowing, and then as time goes on, you can lower your blade down. You've got a map, so you can see your property. We're gonna have to get into this a little bit later, but the mower knows where it is. So I don't know why you need guide wires whenever it has a GPS. Like, why can't it just find its way back to the base station when it knows exactly where it is? But we'll figure that out later. You can also make schedules for your mower, so we're gonna have to schedule that at some point. You can also set this up with your smart home, so you can have Alexa or Google tell your mower to mow. And for now, I guess we're gonna have to go over to the mower and press the start button to get it to start going. All right, control panel, press start to mow. Main area, secondary area, we don't know what all those are yet. We're gonna hit main area. Close hatch. It's doing absolutely nothing except making noises. Oh, there it goes. It is now mowing. Leaving charging station. It's so quiet. It's not doing anything yet. Oh, we've got headlights. I don't think it's actually doing any mowing yet. It's trying to find the guide wire. There's the guide wire. It's turning. I think it's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. It's just been born. It has just entered the world. It's seen what things are. Oh, I hear something. It sounds like the blades might be spinning. Yep, we're spinning. Bump. I will say it is very quiet. Like, I mean, y'all can hear. I think you hear the drive motor of the wheels more than you hear the actual blades spinning. It's really quiet. All right, looks like this could take a while. We're gonna put this thing on time lapse and just see what happens. Tried to mow the camera. It's now mowing the driveway. Hey, while we're here, check out my line. It almost came out straight. Oh no. We just got stuck. Yep. So this is the edge of some new sod here. We had a bit of a dip and it doesn't like that. Give it a little bit of a push. We're gonna have to modify this. Ugh. Just kind of give it the old 1-2. Going over some leaves. And it's just kind of dragging them. Got them. I think the blades might actually be too high. It's at the full 3 inches right now, and my grass is pretty long. It may not be 3 inches long just yet, so we may lower the blade down here in a minute. There's some long grass. You can hear the blades pick up there. It may, when it senses longer grass, it seems like it goes faster. And I can see it's doing some cutting. If y'all ever want to watch somebody just follow a robotic lawnmower around for hours at a time, just come over to my house sometime. This is what I'm gonna do now. Oh no. A little bit too steep of a slope or too deep of grass or something for him right here. Got another big rut here from the sod and all the dips and divots and stuff. He's getting stuck, and the geese are very angry about it. She does not approve of the mower. So it's down to 24% battery now, and it has decided to go back to the charging station. See how this works. No loop signal. Oh wait, that's because, yeah, I just completely obliterated it with my regular lawnmower here. So we started out cutting on the height setting of 9, and it was doing pretty much nothing, but now I just lowered it down to number 3, and you can see the robot just came through here and it's cutting a path that you can actually see progress now. We are going to have to do something about the trampoline. It does not like these bars right here. It won't go over them. Somebody was out. Was it you? Somebody was out late last night and they got stuck here and they made some ruts and they did, I don't know what you call that. They did some damage to the trampoline, but we can't have that. Look at this cannibalism. It cut its own line. Welcome back to the present. It has now been 4 days since we installed the lawnmower, so we're gonna go find it real quick, see how it's doing. So there it is, mowing away, doing its thing. At first it was getting stuck a lot out here on this sod. I think one of the reasons why is because it was really wet, so we had been like overwatering the sod to try and get it to take. Then it also rained the night before I installed this. It was like super swampy out here, and the wheels were just spinning. Ever since it started to dry up a little bit, it's been doing a lot better. We had some really long grass over here all along the side, and when it was wet and slippery and all the wheels were coated in mud from here, it was just sliding and it couldn't go anywhere over here. So I did wind up mowing this section with my push mower to get the grass down a little bit so we could get more traction, and ever since then it's been doing good over here. It has now cannibalized itself twice though. It hit its boundary wire here, I think somewhere over there too. So I would recommend, as Husqvarna recommends, and I probably should have done, mow wherever you're going to put your wire. It needs to be down pretty low, or put it underneath the ground, maybe even better. But I have been moving mine around, adjusting a little bit, so I'm still glad it's above ground, but I might at some point go and try and push it really down into the grass and make sure it's not going to get cut again. You can only put so many wire connectors into a wire until it's just all wire connectors. So going under things, not the best. I don't think people usually have trailers in their front yard. I don't know why, but it's been getting stuck under this one mostly, so I've started moving the wire out on these, and what happens is it goes under like this low point right here, and the top middle of it catches. So all around here, that is all bumper, but this part right here, you can see all the scrapes on that right there. If it gets stuck there and it can't go forward, it doesn't bump anything, and it doesn't know that it's not moving. Eventually the GPS will realize that it's not moving and it'll turn itself off, but it takes a long time, and it just sits there and just digs itself down into the ground. Lawnmower is getting underneath this trailer though. It's got more clearance under there. It's getting underneath the trampoline pretty good too. It was getting stuck over on the bars before, so to fix that, I put these pieces of PVC pipe here so it'll bump into those and go away and not get stuck on top. It is a little unsightly, but I would argue that trampolines are also unsightly, so the net effect here is 0. One thing though is you'll see this is not all mowed under here, just parts of are mowed, and that is because this thing is slow. So it spends a lot of time out in the far part of the yard. It likes to be out there for some reason. He must know I'm talking about him because he's coming back right now. But you are supposed to be able to fix that once a number of days have passed. Your lawnmower will create a map of your property, and you can tell it to spend more time over there or over here or wherever you want. I guess 4 isn't enough of a number of days yet because I don't have that map yet. But for now, he's just going around doing his thing kind of wherever he wants. So the cutting height, Husqvarna tells you to start off like really high up and then lower it down. The thing is, it wasn't mowing anything at the beginning. So the height setting goes all the way from 1 to 9. We started out at 9 and it was just kind of knocking the grass out of the way and not doing much. We are now down at setting 3, and 3 is cutting pretty well. Pretty happy with that. The dog fence wire, so we do now have, I got extra wire the other day. It is all the way out here with our guide wire, and the dog fence wire is working just fine, so you don't need Husqvarna brand wire to do your guide wires. However, I still don't get why you need guide wires. Like, I can understand if it doesn't have GPS, but it should know, like, kind of like drones or something. Like, here's where you started, you went somewhere, find your way back. I mean, maybe you bounce off some things, but I feel like it should be able to find its way back. Maybe in the future they'll be smarter, but today they need the wires that they occasionally run over, and it's just kind of a pain. Speaking of cutting wires, so right here is one of the spots where the wire goes across my driveway, and I'm about 99% sure if I come through here with the edger for my driveway, and even if I'm paying attention, I'm gonna be cutting these like left and right. So we've devised a plan. So I made these little beauties right here, and so what I'm gonna do with these is put them over the wire. Part of this will be in the yard and part of it will be over the driveway. So when I come through with the edger, if I accidentally hit it, it should hopefully protect the wire and not cut it. If you don't want to make these yourself, there is a company out there I found that sells them for like $17 a piece. I had to make 18 of these. They get pretty pricey pretty fast, but these are just 1/2-inch angle iron, welded together, painted, done. Another thing that's not so great right away is it doesn't mulch. I mean, it does, like, it cuts the grass and it doesn't bag it, so it falls back into the grass. But like this sort of thing right here, if I was using my lawnmower would just suck this up, mulch it up, and I would never see it again. The robo mower though, it is just gonna leave it right there. And if I want that picked up, I'm gonna have to do it myself. I feel like I'm saying a lot of negative things about this, which a lot of people are just gonna call complaining, but you know what, that's fine. But I mean, there's a lot of good things too. Like, number one, I'm not mowing the yard right now. Neither is he. He's mowing the driveway, but in a minute, he'll be mowing the yard. So I had to figure out how to get it to work under the trampoline, but now underneath the trampoline is gonna get mowed, something that would never happen if I was mowing the yard myself. This thing, even though it's slow, it runs at night and it runs in the rain. So I think what's gonna happen is once it gets its map and it gets the entire yard mowed and looking good, I'm gonna set it to go only at night when we're asleep, and then that way you never see it going during the day. It's never in your way. You're never gonna run over it in the driveway because it's probably gonna happen at some point. It's probably gonna be my parents. Are y'all watching? Watch out for the lawnmower. It is good with trees. It is good with those plants over there around the trees. So as I mentioned, I did like the minimal boundary wire possible because I didn't want to spend a lot of time putting down wire, and it's working. It hasn't gotten stuck on any of these trees. Even like big sticks, it hasn't gotten stuck on. So overall, I think I'm happy with it so far. I'm glad I made the purchase. We'll see if I feel the same way in 6 months or not. Is it gonna keep mowing the yard? Is it gonna keep getting stuck? I don't know. We'll have to see. So maybe there'll be an updated video, but until next time, I actually have no idea where it is, but I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna watch it because you can just sit there and watch this thing for hours. It's entertaining. See you later. Now, the one thing Husqvarna doesn't tell you is how much dog poop you're gonna get all over yourself while doing this, because you never pick up your dog poop. Why'd you go and do that?